The music video for Feel Good Inc. by the Gorillaz essentially tells a story about a prison, and the name of this prison is Feel Good Inc. It's a tower floating in the sky that traps its residents in a perpetual drug and sex-filled haze. But in practice, it's a dystopian dungeon. The first red flag that we notice about the so-called good feelings of Feel Good Inc. emerges when we look upon the face of the Gorillaz lead singer 2D, who happens to be one of the many trapped inside. 2D's eyes are bloodshot red. He looks unwell as he slouches in a kind of stupor in his chair. And yet he repeats an ominous phrase over and over again. He says, "Feel good, feel good." And then 2D rises from this hedonic stupor and he saunters over to a window where he presses himself against the glass. And he gazes longingly into the sun-drenched horizon, very clearly wishing that he could escape to the other side. And in fact, 2D's gaze is looking for a dreamlike image. It's the image of an old windmill floating on a cliff in the sky. And this, of course, is also the windmill that 2D describes in the chorus of the song. The windmill turns forever under the nourishing power of wind and light. And in 2D's eyes, its perpetual, calming, circular motion is the symbol of love's ultimate freedom. It is a vision of restful peace. And that freedom and peace are the true pleasures that 2D longs to taste while he is trapped inside the prison of Feel Good Inc. But instead, this prison only ever gives him a poor substitute for these feelings. It is a corporatized, processed, dystopian substitute that is described in the song's rap feature. The rapper appears on a massive screen inside of Feel Good Inc. in order to silence the dream of the windmill. And this signals that he's a kind of prison warden, a figure of surveillance and ideological control reminiscent of Big Brother. He tells the prisoners what kind of pleasures Feel Good Inc. will supply them in lieu of the fresh air of love's true freedom. For example, they will be administered laughing gas instead of the joys of organic laughter. He tells the prisoners that they will be attacked with chocolate, which doesn't satisfy or soothe the body so much as pump it full of unquenchable cravings for processed sugars. And this Big Brother rapper warden type figure also issues a command that's especially pertinent to 2D and the Gorillaz. He tells them to stop making music. He wants to annihilate musical culture because it's an existential threat to Feel Good Inc. Whenever people dream of love and self-expression and community in a different and freer world, that's when the pleasures of capitalism reveal themselves in their truth as narcotics that pacify us, and that imprison us within a cycle where we desperately chase after money so we can reproduce more of these empty pleasures. Pleasures that do not offer the satisfactions of love that we dream of in our art. And 2D himself tells us in one of his verses that he cannot sleep inside of Feel Good Inc. And this has to be the reason why his eyes are bloodshot red. It is the irritation of sleeplessness that all of us suffer under a capitalism that prevents us from dreaming of the windmill that lies on the other side of its walls, where love turns freely in the open air. Feel Good Inc. is very clearly the life under capitalism that billionaire ghouls like Elon Musk want for all of us. When he dismantles social services in search of tax breaks for him and his ilk, his goal is to crush you, to fill you with the need for narcotic relief that will weaken and silence you, so that you desperately scurry in search of laughing gas instead of the true freedom required for organic laughter, because at least that gas is something he can sell.